Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The chair of the SPX, South Pacific Stock Exchange, the governor of the Reserve Bank, Minister for Industry, Trade and Tourism, and the board members and invited guests, and CEO. Gives me much pleasure to be here. I mean, Dr. Ali has said everything that needed to be said, so I can make a very short speech. It is very essential for any modern economy to ensure that you have a very sound capital markets. And obviously in Fiji, there is enormous potential for that to grow. And we have, of course, as stated earlier on, over the past number of years, provided a number of incentives, predominantly through various types of tax breaks, to get a number of Fijian companies, in particular family-owned companies. We hope many of them will also join the South Pacific Stock Exchange, or SPX, in listing. Of course, government is playing its own part. As you know, that recently with the EFL divestment, we have already got 5% reserved for domestic account holders. And of course, the South Pacific Stock Exchange has also played a role in respect to the registry. So they are the ones who are now responsible for the dividend payout, which EFL is using. We hope to, of course, have a partial divestment completed by the month of July, which will mean that will be a much easier path for the listing of the company, at least in the next 18 months or so. There will be a major energy company, the only energy company in Fiji, valued in excess of $1 billion, that will be listed on South Pacific Stock Exchange. We think that there is enormous potential for Fiji to, again, further enhance its hub status. Already from the financial markets perspective, from the communications perspective, Fiji plays a pivotal role within the region itself. And we think that can be further enhanced with South Pacific Stock Exchange playing a critical role in that respect. And we hope that you are able to reach out to the rest of the other Pacific Island countries. We know that there is enormous potential there. And government has, of course, provided various incentives in that respect, and we hope to provide even more to ensure that Fiji further consolidates its position as the hub of the Pacific. The recent budget that has been delivered, again, plays on the very fundamental basis of having a very stable economy, consistent in policies. As you know, that whilst there has been a downward trend, sort of muting of growth globally, in particular more so in the metropolitan powers, where the downward trend has been quite marked compared to the emerging economies, we still have maintained a very strong fiscal policy where we maintain consistency in policy. And that is, of course, with the view and the vision to ensure that we still grow these markets, in particular in the capital markets. And there's a number of policy initiatives that we believe that has been outlined in the budget. And now is not the place to sort of elucidate further details on them, but a number of initiatives that have been announced that will consolidate or at least actually encourage more private sector participation in the economy, including in the financial markets. One of the major announcements that has been made is that any investment by private companies other than financial institutions that invest, for example, in government bonds, T-bills, in the FDB bonds, FDB bonds, and housing authority bonds, will not attract any income tax or corporate tax for that matter. So any of the dividends, any of the interests that's gained from investing in government bonds, and also FDB and housing authority bonds won't be taxable. So that we hope will include a lot more private sector participation in that space. The banks and of course insurance companies have to pay their taxes, as they've always had in that respect. But we think again that's to create that that appetite in that space, and we hope that the SPX now, with its new look, new logo, new bula shirts, new display out there, will be able to attract a lot more private sector participation. I think, the point that Dr. Ali made about the visibility of it, I think optics is very, very important in respect of any modern economy. I was just lamenting the other day that Ganilao House, and I hope somebody here is from ATH, that Ganilao House, if you drive from the market end, driving towards the post office, if you look at Ganilao House, the entire wall is bare. It was bare for ages. Now they've painted one advertisement, which is a static painted ad. If they had electronic signage, which they themselves could advertise their own products, but invite other people to also advertise, that would, again, the optics would be fantastic. It would, the level of darkness would actually diminish in that space. And over here, this end of town too, also, I think with your display, generally it is fairly dark around here, it will create a particular level of excitement. And I think cities need to be inviting. Cities need to be well lit up. When you have displays of that sort, it makes people a lot more excited. It gives you a sense of a metropolitan location. And I think that's very important. Optics are very, very important. So I'm glad that you have contributed to the optics of Suva. And we hope that in time to come that your signage will actually go all around the building. With a lot more shareholders and a lot more, of course, companies listed. So thank you very much for this. I think this is great. I mean, as we said, the SPX, of course, you've dropped the S there, and that's a lot more catchy. The logo is very good. We also are very glad that you've done this, because the World Exchange Congress will be hosted in Fiji. We have funded that, of course, almost completely. I also urge the other shareholders of the South Pacific Stock Exchange to participate a lot more actively, please. You have not contributed a single cent, apart from government, over the past few years. I mean, you are benefiting from it. And I hope the other shareholders do actually step up. I don't think you should become state dependent. You are a privately owned company, and in fact, it's one of the very few privately owned companies that actually is funded by government. And primarily only for the reason because we want the capital markets to grow in Fiji. So I hope the board, with its 70% female membership, has the persuasive powers to convince all the other shareholders to become a lot more active and not for people to free ride. So, ladies and gentlemen, congratulations once to the board, and I would also like to thank the Governor of the Reserve Bank. The RBF has, of course, played a critical role. As has been said, they're not just a regulator, but it is also in the interest, in respect of the monetary policy, combined with the fiscal policy initiatives the government has put in place to ensure that we see that growth, and which we believe, notwithstanding the fact there is a global downward trend, as I said, but the emerging economies and enormous potential there, that we should see this period as a period of consolidation, as a period of actually seeking out opportunities when others may not actually see those opportunities. Thank you once again, and congratulations. Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, please, a round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, a journey that has taken 40 years, and tonight, the new rebranded logo, ladies and gentlemen, please, a round of applause, the South Pacific Stock Exchange. And, oh, that's to keep you guessing. That's to keep you guessing. That's all part of the plan. There we've gone live, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, there it is. It's now live, and
we are bringing the World Exchange Congress to Fiji next year. Having said that, we are also grateful to the economy for the continued efforts to promote the development of the installation of the stock ticker display screen